Hello and welcome to Her Path to Success. My name is Tahara Hasham and our show is brought to you by the Arab American Women's Business Council, whose mission is to empower Arab American women of diverse professions through leadership and networking and professional development opportunities. Tonight, our guest is Nancy Jafar. She had completed her bachelor's and her master's at Wayne State in psychology. She's been working in the Dearborn Public Schools for 10 years, and she recently just got certified as a hypnotherapist and opened up her own clinic. And on top of all of that, she also leads her own page called Heals, which is helping elevate every lady's success. Hello, Nancy.
Hello.
Welcome to our show tonight.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
So why don't we get started and you tell us a little bit about your journey and how do you define success for yourself?
Well, I was thinking about this a couple of days ago, and I was thinking about the word journey.
Yep.
And I think it's ideal because it really encapsulates everything that I think I've been going through, because it was really an evolution. Mm-hmm. Since I was a little girl, I always had a knack for people and understanding people. Mm-hmm. And it wasn't just like the friend who listened and lended an ear and gave advice. I'm talking about analyzing and going deep into personalities and trying to figure out how this is related to this. So I think I was innately a psychologist. I don't think I became one. I think I was born one, and then I just went to school because I was already one.
You were born a psychologist.
I believe that. And anybody who knows me over the years knows that that really has been my trend. So it just seems so natural for me. And I did retail and I did all that. But I knew I wanted to get a bachelor's in psychology.
Okay.
And I didn't fully understand that a bachelor's in psychology or a liberal arts degree is just so general. So by the time I graduated, and I felt happy that I graduated with a bachelor's, I was left with nothing in essence because I didn't know what to do with it.
It's harder to start with liberal arts because there's no real career path unless you continue your education.
Exactly. And I knew that I had to go all the way as far as getting a PhD. So it took me a little bit of time to find what I wanted to do, and I was trying to think practically, and it took me a while to get there because as women we're so passionate and we want to do what we love and what our dream, and I encourage that totally. But there has to be a balance between that and how practical is it to live off and to be able to have a career.
You can't just have a dream and have it go nowhere. It's how can I have a dream and set a goal with that dream and actually achieve it.
Which led me to the master's degree in school and community psychology. So I knew that at a master's level I'd have a career.
Okay.
And then I could be able to make money and to support myself as I continued on for my PhD.
So that wasn't your end goal to work in the public schools?
That wasn't my end goal.
Okay, so you always had a stretch ahead. You always were looking forward.
I did.
Okay.
I did, and I think that I set high expectations for myself, but it took me a long time to really believe that I can get there. And I think that is with a lot of women. Just naturally, life experiences and growing older and wiser and being more and more comfortable in your own skin. So it took me a while to get there. I got my master's degree. I was employed with the school system. I've been doing that for 10 years, and I lead the multidisciplinary evaluation team for special education kids.
Okay, so that's definitely not something to deal with easily, especially with children and that. So how do you balance that?
So everybody asks me that because it's emotionally draining.
It is.
And I don't get the luxury of dealing, and I don't even want to call it a luxury, that's the wrong term. I don't get the opportunity to deal with the kids that are super successful and high functioning. All of the kids that come to me are the ones that are special needs. So I evaluate them and I do diagnostic testing and I determine what kind of special education planning they need. So I was trying to figure out why I changed so much. At the beginning it was consuming me, it was too emotional. And then I realized the difference is I felt empowered. So before I started working in the schools, if I saw a special needs kid, my heart would break. But it was because I didn't feel like I could do anything. I felt I had no control over the situation. I couldn't offer anything. Now I do.
Which makes sense.
Which makes me feel better about the situation.
You feel like you're making a difference.
Yes. It's incredible. It's really shaped me. It's humbled me. It's made me so appreciative of every little thing in my life. So those kids are magical.
It makes going to work different when you have a passion for it. It makes something that you enjoy doing. And I'm glad that you were able to find that. But going through all this process, how are you capable of setting your goal? What made you say, okay, this is my dream, this is what I want to do?
I think giving myself an opportunity to live each period of my life.
Okay, that's interesting.
Because starting, I knew I wanted to get my PhD, and I stressed myself about that initially. And then I thought, you know what, let me enjoy what I have.
Okay.
Life is not going anywhere.
That's something that I think a lot of people have a hard time doing.
Yeah.
We get so focused and caught up with our future goals and what we want to do that we're not living in the moment.
In the moment, exactly.
So I'm glad that you figured that out.
Yeah, it took me a while. Listen, I didn't get here. It was my journey.
Right.
So I did the schools, and then as I continued on, I still felt like I needed more. I've always felt like there was a calling for me.
Okay.
I really felt that. I couldn't put it into words. I know a lot of people say that, and I used to laugh at myself. But I feel like I was put on this earth with a mission, and it was greater than what I was doing. And then I found out about hypnotherapy.
Interesting. That's not something that you typically hear that people go into. And I know when I first heard about hypnotherapist, you kind of say, oh, it's not real, or it's a fake therapy, and it's just someone trying to make money. But as I started to learn more and more about it, and I got to know you and I researched, I found it's a lot more than that.
Yeah.
Do you want to give us a little hint? And
Sure.
how did you come into hypnotherapy? And
So I'm going to give you the short story because it's a little long. But like I said, I've always been there for my friends, and I've been a therapist for many people throughout the years. So a friend of mine was really challenging herself to grow. And she was a woman, and she was strong, and she was ambitious and driven, and she read all the right books and the CDs, and she challenged herself. And she did a lot of growing as far as her self-esteem and her courage and conquering fears, but there was still something holding her back, and she could not figure out for the life of her what it was.
Okay.
So she went to take somebody to quit smoking, and she did some research. She took him to a consultation, and the consultation was with a hypnotherapist. Well, the person who was supposed to quit smoking found this to be ridiculous, but she walked away in awe.
Oh,
She
interesting.
called me, and she was like, I'm going to do hypnotherapy, and I'm going to pay this much money. And I'm like, no, don't do that. I can help you.
So even you were
I
skeptical
didn't
at first.
know.
Yeah.
I felt like I failed her as a friend, that she had to go and seek somebody else.
This is my job. Come to me.
Exactly. So I said, I'm going to support you. And she asked me, she said, just monitor and see if it's affecting me and if it's changing me. And I was floored. Like, I still get goosebumps when I think about it.
Wow.
The stuff that she uncovered in the sessions seemed so benign in real life, but it turns out that situation when she was 5 years old, that was really something that you would think, oh, it was not nice.
Yeah.
You know, my father said this to me.
Right.
But she didn't realize how much it was secured into her subconscious mind, and it was really leading her and holding her back and all the things that she was doing.
Oh, wow. So it deeply affected her, and it really shaped who she was turned into.
Yes.
Wow.
And that's when I was astounded by the subconscious mind.
Okay.
And from that moment, I did some research. I talked to some local hypnotherapists. I found a school, and I went to school on the weekends while I was working in the schools.
Oh, wow.
And I got my certification, and then I did nothing with it. Again, fearful.
Right.
You know,
Taking that extra step.
taking that extra step was something that's unorthodox.
Right.
It's not mainstream.
That's true. And you're worried about how is the community going to accept it,
Exactly.
and how am I going to get clients?
So it took me a while to build the courage until finally I went to a hypnotherapist, and I asked her to mentor me, and she said to me, let's do a mock session. You come in here, you pretend to be a client. And I said, you know what, I don't want to do a mock session. I want to be a client. She's like, okay, what do you want to address? I said, my fear about opening this business.
Perfect.
So we did a session, and you fast forward 3 months later, and I have this incredible clinic.
Oh, that's amazing.
This confidence that came just at the right time. Everything was so opportune for me. And I have a lot of clientele. The buzz is out there. People are so just impressed and happy and in awe of the therapy. And I had a beautiful open house.
Which I attended,
Yes.
and it was
Thank you
definitely
for
very
coming.
beautiful, and it really opened my eyes to hypnotherapy. And I think it's interesting to see that you're not only a hypnotherapist, you are also a client in it. And so you can relate to your clients, and it really helps give you, not necessarily credibility, but it helps us relate to you more as clients.
I've always tried to be authentic in everything I do. I mean, even the interview part of it.
Right.
I want things to be fluid. I want things to be authentic. I want to feel genuine when I do things. And one of the ways I could feel genuine was to do it myself, to experience hypnotherapy. So that when I speak, I speak with conviction. I also did like a mini internship on my own where I took clients and I didn't take money from them because I knew that if I took money during a time where I wasn't 100% confident about what I was doing, I wouldn't feel good about it. So I did that for about 2 months.
Wow.
I got no money, but
Yeah.
I wanted to see that I could do this and I was successful, and then that's when my confidence really built.
And it helped get feedback and
I got all the feedback and it was incredible. I really am overwhelmed by the power of the subconscious mind and the things that I've been able to do and the women that I've been able to empower. I mean, the messages that I get. I had a girl text me the other day and she said, "You made turning 30 feel like Sex in the City."
Wow.
She said, just walking around with sass and class and confidence. And that's just from the hypnotherapy. She's like, "I never thought I would feel this at 30 years old."
That's incredible. It must feel so good to give that person that confidence to go forward in life and to have that feeling about themselves.
I swear to you, Tara, I feel so blessed.
That's amazing.
My heart is full of appreciation, full of awe that I'm doing this, that I've been so blessed. This whole way, working with the kids in the schools and then doing the hypnotherapy and then the heals.
Which we'll also touch on. And I think it's just so important to note right now that your passion, it just comes off in you. And you know that you love what you're doing. And I think that's also very key to the journey. And I think that's something that some people miss. They set goals for themselves or dreams of, okay, I want to be successful, I want to be rich, I want to have money. But they somehow forget that heart. You have to have your heart into it. You have to be passionate about what you do.
It is. It's a tough society to live in because growing up, and I'm in the school system, the emphasis is not on the creative mind and on the passion. It's about meat testing and scores and grade point averages. And
it's more pressure on the kids.
Yes, it's a missing component in our public school systems. So I think the parents particularly have to encourage that so there's a good balance between what the school enforces and encourages and builds in your character and what the parents do. And just saying, it's okay if you're not great at math. It's okay. I mean, if I was to be tested by me right now, I'd probably be learning disabled in math. You know what I mean? It's not my thing. But I feel like I'm smart. Like God gives me something, He compensates for that deficit.
True.
So I think what got me to have people believe in hypnotherapy is my involvement in the community along the way and working in the schools because I do a lot of work with the parents.
Right. So they've grown to learn and to trust you and to know who you are. And I think that's really important for kids because you've dealt with something, especially in the Arab community, twice that are against the norm, I guess.
Taboo.
Very taboo. We don't necessarily believe in special ed sometimes. And I think they tend to believe that undermine what's wrong with the kids. They don't have a learning disability. They're just lazy. They're just tired. And I think your work definitely helps show that it's okay to have that. It's okay if you're not at the same level of learning. And I think that's really important, that you're helping these children gain confidence.
That helped me.
Really?
Because I was just telling somebody the other day, I'm a person who does everything last minute. I was the girl in grad school whose paper was printing out like 5 minutes before class, okay? And it was an insecurity of mine. I'm like, why am I so disorganized? Why am I so irresponsible? And then I went to a conference for hypnotherapy in September. And one of the presenters said, you know, for years I've been called a procrastinator. He said, I'm tired of that word. I'm not a procrastinator. I'm a person who thrives off the thrill of the last minute. I'm a person whose brain functions at its optimal level at the end. And that works for me.
That's a great way to look at it.
And I was like, oh, thanks. I feel so much better.
I feel better now. There you go. I'm always so last minute with everything. So that's good to know. We're normal.
Works out. Exactly. And this is the same feeling I try to give the parents and even the people who come to me for hypnotherapy. Because we're in a society that's so based on deficits and disabilities, and if you don't have this, that means you're disabled. No.
It's the end of the world.
You have strengths and weaknesses. You're human. Build on your strengths. And you know what? Try to work with your weaknesses, but build on your strengths, and we forget that part.
That's a great way to think about things and to teach them.
Yeah.
And it goes along with hypnotherapy as well, because you're teaching them at a young age.
Yeah. Well, I'm reframing too. So I have adults. I have 60-year-old clients, I
Yeah.
have 30-year-old clients, and I have 12-year-old clients. And
Wow.
I've had a 7-year-old client. But what happens is you come to me after your brain has already developed. And during the stage where your brain is developing, you're exposed to a lot of different situations and opinions and words and things like that. So you're 5 years old,
Okay.
you're an innocent little girl, and you're in a situation that has nothing to do with you. But for some reason, whatever it is that's going around you, you internalize and you take it personal because you haven't developed the sophistication to filter through and say, this is not against me.
Makes sense.
So it could be a parent, it could be a teacher, it could be a neighbor, it could be a friend. And you could be scolded for something harshly that really didn't deserve that scolding, but because your dad was in a bad mood that day, and
Right.
you know how it is.
You're a 5-year-old brain.
And you're a
You don't-
5-year-old brain, exactly.
Our emotions are different then. It's a lot less complex. Things are as they are. They don't look behind them
It's
and
concrete.
say, right.
So you just take that, interpret it, stick it in your mind, and you take from it,
Yeah.
you know, he doesn't love me or whatever it is. So when you do hypnotherapy, you go to the root cause, and that's called an initial sensitizing event. So I
Okay.
actually put you in trance, I get you super relaxed, and I access the subconscious mind by shutting off the critical part of your mind, the conscious one, the one that interferes in so many things. And that's why when you're trying to do something on a conscious level and you're like, I'm doing all the right things, but something's holding me back, there's a block there. People feel it, they don't know how to put it in words.
Yeah.
The block is the information in the subconscious mind.
Oh, okay.
So you go into trance, you reframe and heal that misinformation or the misinterpretation of the event.
Go straight to the source.
And then once you do that, you can come see me every week, and then I can now build you up with affirmations.
Okay. So you start from the bottom and work your way to the top.
Yeah.
That's great. I'm so glad to see when I see women who are following what they love to do. And part of the whole Arab American Women Business Council is they love to empower women and help them achieve success. And one of the things that actually drew me to you, how I met you, is through your heels page. And I feel like the messages align. They're very similar messages. So do you want to go and tell us a little bit about that?
Sure. So I was sitting around in my house, and I was watching the news, and there was a very traumatic story about a girl who ran over another girl, over a boy.
Oh,
It
wow.
was all over the news. The girl ended up in the coma. This community knew about it.
It's very sad.
I felt like that was my pivotal moment. That's when I thought, what is happening to us? We already don't build each other up.
Right.
We already compare, each other, and we don't feel happy for the other woman's joy. But to take it to this level where it's gotten physical and somebody almost died, I felt like something needs to be done. And that's what inspired my heels movement. So I came up with the idea, play on words, of course high heels, because I am a girly girl at the end of the day. Okay, so
We all are to some extent.
Yeah, fashion is important to me, so the play on the word heels, the acronym was helping elevate every lady's success.
Okay.
And I created a Facebook page where I just wanted an opportunity, even if one person heard me, just to say, guys, look, we're getting to a bad place. We need to stop, we need to reevaluate. We need to find our balance between femininity and masculinity. And society pushes us to be assertive and successful in everything, and along the way we compromise the delicate nature of the woman, especially the Arab American woman.
Yeah, we get a double-edged sword almost.
Yes.
We have more pressures on us as Arab Americans to follow through with the culture, and we're expected to act a certain way and to think a certain way, and then we also have the American culture where, like you said, we have to be successful, we have to be in corporate America, or we have to have a certain job. And I think we get lost in the middle.
Yes, absolutely. That's perfectly said. It's finding the balance between the East and the West. And I felt like a lot of our girls, without sounding judgmental, is coming from a good place.
Yeah.
We're taking the ugly from the West and the ugly from the East.
Right.
And we created this little subculture that just wasn't working for me.
Instead of taking the best of both
Yes.
worlds, we managed to take somehow, not necessarily the worst, but not the best.
Yes.
And
Well, sometimes, some of the things you do see, they were the worst. I mean, look at this
that's true.
situation.
That was definitely the worst of the worst. And I remember that situation you were talking about And I remember thinking when that happened that I just felt so helpless. I felt so helpless and thinking, what are we doing to ourselves as women? We should be helping to build each other up. We should be helping to grant each other this success and motivate them. And that's why I reached out to you, and I did, because I saw it and I thought, this is perfect. This is exactly what we need in our community.
I fell in love with you when I got that message because you were the first message I received on my Heels page. It was a private message and it was so encouraging, and you were just telling me how proud you were of it, and you offered help, and you made me feel like what I did was right in that moment. You made me feel like, yes, there are women out there who do want this for each other.
Yeah.
So your message was very, very critical for me, and I was so appreciative of it, truly.
I'm glad I could help.
Yeah, no. And a nice word goes a long way.
Yeah.
And one of the things I talk about in Heels as well is give a compliment.
Yeah.
You know, she sees you looking at her.
Right.
She sees the look and the stare. Just say
Yeah.
something.
Hey, you look good today.
It's a better reflection of you as a woman.
Right.
So I've been blessed. I've had amazing, amazing women.
Mm-hmm.
My girlfriends are my angels, and my mom is dropped from heaven. So I've
Yeah.
known nothing but beautiful women.
So you have great examples for you.
And we build each other up all the time.
That's very
And
good.
hopefully that will send a message to the younger generation, just having more of those unions and people seeing that public display of admiration and love and
Right.
and pride.
Right. I think another key element to the whole journey that you're on is you have a good support system. And I think it's really hard to get to the success and to reach your goals unless you have that cushion to fall back on, or that shoulder to cry on, or just that person just to sit and complain and do nothing else other than that.
Yeah, and girlfriends are the key.
Yeah.
The healthiest people are the ones with good girlfriend relationships and good relationships with their mother. Some of it is out of your control, but with the hypnotherapy, going back, every single woman that walks in, and men too, I don't want to sound like I'm being biased or favoring,
right.
but every single person that walks in has a touch of Heels influence.
Yes.
So when I'm doing the hypnotherapy and I'm customizing the verbiage and the words and the affirmations, they're all an undertone of love yourself,
Yes.
shine. You are a star. I want every person that walks out of my office to feel like a star, because the brighter they shine, the brighter I feel. It doesn't threaten me.
It builds you up.
It builds me up incredibly, and I wish people knew that. Just wishing well for other people makes you brighter on the inside.
That's a great message to send out. And I'm glad to see that we have someone in the community that's building everyone else up. And I'm so excited to see where you're going to be heading to next.
Thank you so much.
Nancy, before we go and you can do a little ending of your own, give us 3 tips for our audience on being successful and setting their own journey.
Okay, well, the number one thing is failure is not failure.
Okay.
You have to try, you have to not succeed so that you can figure out how you're going to get to the right place, and you appreciate your successes even more.
That's true.
And I think what people need to understand is that everybody has a set of skills. Tap into the right ones. If you focus on your negative qualities, you will be held back forever.
That's a very good point.
And one of the things I had to learn how to do was accept praise.
Oh yeah, it's sometimes hard to
It
accept
is.
compliments.
Accepting praise and accepting because people see in you the things you don't see in yourself.
Yes.
So tune in to the positive ones because they mean a lot, and they will really help guide you. Don't focus on the negative reactions, even though it's very hard not to do.
Right.
But if you're going to do it, at least balance. So if
Yes.
somebody says, my God, you're amazing, you're so creative, take that. That means something. Creativity is something they see in you.
Yeah.
So I think that'll really help you finding your niche. So I think
Okay.
it all has to do with just building yourself from the inside, honestly.
That's a very good tip to have, because I think as women we tend to be very critical on ourselves, and we downplay praise, and we downplay compliments that we have, and we said, oh, you're just exaggerating, or you're just trying to make me feel better about myself. So I think that's very important to have.
I feel that the hypnotherapy, and I don't want to use this word because it sounds cheesy, I feel like it's magic. I can't tell you the way that it can heal a person and the way that it can build them up. It allows everything that you're doing on a conscious level to flourish. I have brilliant people who came and have seen me that were struggling with anxiety their whole lives and couldn't apply for a job, but they're so intelligent and they have everything going for them. Deal with the anxiety, and now they have a new job. I have people, just their overall self-esteem, people who needed to lose weight that was holding them back forever. They have this amazing person inside of them.
Yeah.
But the fat boy or the fat girl that they keep seeing themselves on a subconscious level blocks them. So I feel like that is something truly every single human being, whether it's sports enhancement, focusing on school, test taking, depression, anything, pain management, illnesses. I am dealing with the entire gamut. ADD, smoking. Smoking is one of the greatest ones, especially in this community. Quitting hookah.
Yeah.
Quitting the cigarettes.
Oh yeah, it's very tough.
That success alone, feeling like you can do this, gives you a willpower, and that spirals.
Yeah. I think a very important key is if you don't have the confidence and you don't believe in yourself, you're never going to move forward. You're going to be stuck. So it's very good that you're helping boost their confidence to help them move forward and to achieve their goals and their success.
And the confidence happens naturally when I take away those negative belief systems that they're not even aware they have.
It's interesting.
People are afraid to fail, and they don't even know why.
Oh yeah.
I had one girl, brilliant. I ended up doing a session with her, and she was super, super tough on her daughter. Super tough on her daughter, overachiever, she's a perfectionist, she's successful, but she was anxious and uptight all the time. When I did a session with her and we went back in time, the memory that came out as the cause for all of this was her first grade teacher.
Wow, that far back.
She was supposed to, first grade, she was supposed to answer a question on a whiteboard. She didn't know the answer, so she looked at the boy next to her and got ridiculed by her first grade teacher. This almost 40-year-old girl relived that moment like it was happening right then and there. It was the most emotional thing. All this release came out of her. I cried while she was in trance because I was like, oh, you poor baby, you know?
Yeah.
And she's doing amazing.
That's great.
Amazing.
It's great to hear.
It's beautiful.
So before we end today, do you have any closing remarks or any other tips for us?
Just keep building each other up and always challenge yourself. Always challenge yourself. A work ethic from when you're a child is what guides you. It doesn't matter what your title is. As long as you feel like you push yourself. And it doesn't matter how old you are. Push yourself.
Very good.
I think that is the key, and that's what I believe is what got me here. I was always pushing myself without overwhelming myself either. Without feeling like, okay, if I don't do this, I'm a failure.
It's very important.
Finding that balance. But other than that, I mean, I'm blessed and I'm so happy, and I wish everybody comes and sees me at my office. I truly would love every human being to experience this. From my heart, I just feel like it can help anybody and everybody, and if I could do it every week, I would.
That's great. I truly hope more people come to see you because you're making a difference in the community, and I wish everyone to have that confidence in themselves. And I want all of the women, the Arab American women in our community and the Arab American women around the world to just have that confidence to push against the boundaries that are set, that they set themselves or that are set against them, and just go for what you want to do.
Beautiful. I love it, and I'm proud of you. You're doing great.
Thank you very much.
I really am.
Well, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
So glad to have you.
And if anybody needs more information about the hypnotherapy, you can go to my website. It's evolutionhypno.com.
Okay.
And all the information for the office, the services, links are on there, what I do. So
great way to contact you.
Yes.
And if anyone needs more information, you can always contact us, and we'll be sure to give you everything that you need. So thank you for joining us tonight. Again, my name is Tahara Hasham, and our guest tonight was Nancy Jaffad, and this is Her Path to Success.